welcome to another episode of the Ghostly Hour. Today we have a story coming from Reddit user Verastahl. It's titled, We Only Have Two Children. Without any further delay, let's get to the story. I was driving the girls to soccer practice when I realized something was wrong. They were back there, alternating between chattering happily with each other, bickering and competing to tell me something, while telling the other to be quiet. They were talking now. All normal stuff that, at least on most days, was enjoyable background noise as I focused on driving and whatever else was on my mind at the time. But as we got off the freeway and started down the exit towards the soccer field, a new sound emerged from the back, a voice, high and soft, but unmistakably that of a young boy. We're going to be late. My eyes snapped immediately to the mirror, and in its reflection I could see the girls sitting on the front row seats like always, but instead being followed by shadow and a view of receding road out the back glass. My eyes now went to the child staring at me from the second row of seats. I had to fight the urge to slam on the brakes. Instead, I slowed down, trying to stay calm as I pulled into the parking lot of the nearest shopping center. Stopping, I turned around slowly, half expecting the boy to be gone, just a temporary phantom of my imagination. Listen, if you think it's normal that you're just hallucinating, you might want to go talk to somebody. Instead, he stared at me with the same confused look that my daughters did. He looked to be 6 or 7, so a couple of years younger than our younger daughter, but I'd never seen him before in my life. June started to ask why we had stopped, but I spoke over her, my voice even but strained in my own ears. Son, why are you in our car? Did you get lost? He frowned at me. What do you mean, Dad? I thought we were going to soccer. I glanced at my daughters, who looked like I had gone crazy. No, I knew how many children I had. That was absurd. And this stranger, he could be dangerous, young or not. Waving my hand at them in the sliding door next to June, I told them to get out of the car. The boy went to do the same, but I told him no. He was to stay where he was. The girls tried to complain, but I told them to hush and stand out front where I could see them. When they had, I called their mother. Hey, hon. Did you get them to soccer today? On the way still, but something came up. Marcia, how many children do we have? She laughed. I hope only 3. My blood went cold. 3? Swallowing thickly, I looked in the rearview mirror again. The boy was just watching me, his face troubled. Tell me their names, please. Kevin, you're scaring me. Just tell me, please. Okay, June, Allison, and Toby. Now tell me what... My mind was racing as static filled my head. What? Is this some kind of joke? Is what a joke? What's going on, okay? Are Toby and the girls okay? Alright, pump the brakes, because this is getting a little confusing. So this guy basically forgot he had a third child? That's what I'm gathering from this? We don't have a child named Toby, I said as a hissing whisper, but I felt sure the boy had heard it. I didn't care. I was growing scared and angry, and I wanted whatever this was to stop. There was a brief pause, and then, where are you? Like right now, where are you at? I glanced around the shopping center right off the exit for the field, in front of that bakery we got Allison's cake at last year. Are the kids all okay and safe? Yes, of course they are, but I don't know what to do with. Just wait there, okay? Keep an eye on them. I'm leaving work now, and I can be there in 20 minutes. Do you need to stay on the phone with me, or are you okay to wait? I frowned. She thought I was crazy, maybe even dangerous. I wanted to feel indignant anger at the idea, but it was so far-fetched. I trusted her, and this was way beyond any kind of practical joke, so what did that leave other than that something was wrong with me? Hand trembling, I rubbed my face. I'll keep all 3 of the children safe until you get here. Don't worry. Marcia was there less than 15 minutes later, and she was clearly terrified. She left her car in the parking lot and drove us to her mother's to drop off the kids. Carolyn seemed concerned, but not about this little boy they kept calling Toby. She swept him up in a hug when the kids ran to the house, toting him inside with the others while asking how their day had been. The pit in my stomach just continued to grow as we pulled out of her driveway and headed towards the doctor. We were halfway there when I forced myself to speak. So I'm crazy. Is that it? Marcia glanced over and gave me a worried-looking smile. No, you're not crazy, but I think something's happened. Maybe you hit your head and don't remember, or something is going on inside that's making you confused. I mean, shit, you don't remember your own son. Something has to happen, right? I looked away and nodded. Yeah, sure. I don't remember anything like that, but sure, it makes sense. We rode on in silence, and when we reached the doctor's office, Marcia got out right away and started heading towards the front door. I was halfway out my seat when I remembered to get my insurance card out of the glove box. Opening the door to the compartment, I rustled around amid gum and car manuals until I found my health insurance card tucked into a holder with my card for car insurance. I was about to shut the door back when a piece of blue paper wedged against the back of the glove box caught my eye. I glanced up, but Marcia had already stepped inside. I could see her through the glass at the front reception desk, presumably letting them know they had an emergency walk-in. Tugging the blue paper free, my stomach cramped worse than before as I unfolded it. I didn't remember it, but it was my handwriting on the note, just one line. I only have 2 children. Hands shaking, I stuffed the note in my pocket and went inside, trying my best to act pleasant and calm as we waited for them to call us back. Marcia tried to talk small talk and act casual, but I could tell she was nervous and scared, and I felt guilty because I knew I was the cause. My mind kept going back to the note in my pocket, but what did it really mean? Was it telling the truth, or just a sign that I'd been having problems with my memory and reality for longer than just that afternoon? When they called us back, the nurse did some initial questions and took my blood pressure and pulse readings before telling us the doctor would be in shortly. Unlike most visits, this time he was actually in there, quickly, his face concerned from the start and only growing more grave. As he listened to my account and then Marcia's, when we were done, he raised his eyebrows and let out a long breath. Well, I see why you're both worried. It's probably nothing bad and we'll get it sorted out, but right now it must seem scary. He smiled at me. But Kevin, if it helps, I can assure you that you do have 3 children. Hell, Toby's on the same little league team as my grandson Devin. You don't remember any of that? I shook my head sadly. I don't want to believe me, but I don't remember anything about him at all. He nodded. But you remember the rest of your life. You remember your other 2 children. Not just who they are, but you remember specific memories of them in your life? Sure, I mean, yeah, I do. And Marcia, you remember she's your wife and remember your life with her. Well, of course I do. Look, He raised his hand. Just bear with me, Kev. Do you remember your job and where you live? I nodded. Yeah, we live in the next neighborhood over from you, and I work from home. And where did you grow up? On a farm with my parents and sister in Nebraska. Okay, good. So any other gaps that you are aware of? Anything else you don't remember or feel isn't as it should be? He held my gaze as he went on. Feels strange or off or whatever? I shook my head. No, just the Toby I guess. His gaze shifted to Marcia. I think it's just a trip fault in the beta section of the last inurement cycle. Confused, I look around at Marcia. What's he talk? I didn't have time to scream as he stuck a black squirming thing on my face. It latched immediately, digging into my skin as my head filled with static again. Oh God, what were they going to do? To be continued. Alright, everybody, that's it for this episode. If you would like to hear more, then make sure to comment below and we'll get on to the second part in our next release. Thank you. Good night.